Everybody, welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, alongside your hostess with the mostest, Mr. Ian Koch.
You're not the host?
I guess I am the host.
I think
I am the host.
Yeah.
So I'm the hostess with the mostest.
You have the most.
Yeah, I have the most.
Yeah.
I definitely have the most. You see, got my CrossFit shirt on today. I'm loving it. So right before the podcast started, Ian gave me too hot. 1, 2. All right. So before coming on the podcast, and I should have done it before, but while we were on the show, Ian gave me this fruit drink smoothie thing.
It's called Fuel for Fire.
So if you have
It's
been
food. It's like baby food.
Yeah, if you've ever been around like an infant recently and they have those applesauce packages, it was like that, but with whey protein,
No.
strawberry. But yeah, there's protein in there.
It's from fruits and veggies.
Oh. Well, anyway, it's terrible. It tastes terrible.
I think it's soy protein maybe.
Well, anyway, it does good on the stomach though. Like I'm not hungry anymore. So.
Yeah, the idea is that, it's like baby food. You should have seen Alyssa, my wife, when she tried one. She tried to chew it. I thought she was going to throw up on the floor. They're really good. They're good like if you're going to work out or you just finished a workout or you're going to run. Runners really like them and you just like...
It's not heavy.
No, not at all. But it has enough calories and enough protein that it can sustain you. So like runners will grab them literally like during marathons. They'll just grab one, suck it down, smash the water and go type of thing.
What do you think the possibility is that we can get these people to start sponsoring the podcast?
Fuel for Fire?
Any of them?
Probably not. I mean, we don't work out. I mean, not like...
Well, we don't... I think the following is more... Like if we had like 10,000 people listening to every episode, we could probably start getting some sponsors.
So what Brian is saying is that if you like our podcast, it would be super cool if you shared it.
Exactly right.
With somebody else.
Exactly
like just
right.
maybe hit the share button on Facebook or wherever you're finding it. That would be cool.
It's like 2 clicks. Everyone can do 2 clicks. Just click.
Oh, share and
share.
whistle.
Okay. Share. Okay. Share. Okay.
So before we kind of get into it, yesterday, which is actually in 2 days.
Yep.
So October the 12th. It's actually Thursday the 10th. But October the 12th, we had our Hustle for Henne.
It was a great turnout.
It was an awesome turnout.
Thank you everyone for showing up.
Actually, we don't know. We're hoping it's going to be a great event. I guess next week we'll give you a little bit more information. But as of today, which is the 10th, not the 12th, we've got 200 people signed up already. Usually we get about 100 day of, so that's exciting. We'll have about 300 people. And we've got a bunch of sponsors, Mountainside Addiction Treatment, Ashley Addiction Treatment, Pinelands Addiction Treatment, Recovery Centers of America.
Sweet.
We've got Newport Academy, Karen.
Do you have the shirts in?
I'm picking up the shirts today.
Because I saw the picture of the shirts.
Shirts look good.
Yeah, they look. I like the dark blue, right?
It's a dark blue and a teal.
Yeah, they look good. I wish we had one to show up.
Yeah,
maybe
you could flash the thing when you're doing the edit. Flash the
true.
Picture.
Very true. I can do that. There's gonna be a really good Hustle for Henne video coming out.
Yep, we're gonna do that. So some other exciting things we've got in the works. We are actually planning tentative dates. We're going to do the podcast semi-live from Maryland at Ashley Addiction Treatment.
Yep, we'll be on location.
Yep.
I'm very excited about that one because I've never been to Ashley.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I've heard.
Great clinical, really nice.
I've heard so many good things about that place, and like just it's in the countryside too. So I'm really excited.
Actually, in Harvey de Grace, Maryland. It's right on the water. On the.
I like the bridge, the Millard Tidings Bridge.
It's got a view.
Yeah.
We're going to do live on set from Mountainside's new New York City location.
Correct.
So Mountainside just put like a recovery center in Chelsea, New York. Ping pong, foosball, recovery coaching, a bunch of stuff out of there. So we're gonna go up there, do live on set. Maybe some other folks, treatment centers and people out there that maybe we'll get around. And I've always also thought about doing like sneaky videos. Like,
don't look at me like that. You tell the people.
Where we potentially go out and film recovery houses,
kind of like
just like
undercover boss.
Yeah, not or even treatment centers for that matter. Not necessarily like show any residents or clients or anything like that or staff, but just what it potentially looks like, and then we can potentially, it would be super fun if we matched the pictures with the pictures that we get with the pictures on the website.
Ooh.
And see if people are doing what they say they're going to do. That'd be fun.
That would be interesting.
I think that would be a lot of work, but it would be fun.
It's median and we're hitting the road.
Something like that.
We're hitting the road.
Yeah. Also, as we move, so some of the things that Surfside's going to do as we move into 2020, we're really excited. We're gearing up. A couple of our staff, Dan got his master's degree. Nikki G is going to have his master's degree. Nick got last year certified in family interventions through Mike Smith, who's a great guy up at Bay State Recovery in Massachusetts. He's been doing interventions for a very, very long time, a lot of family work. Great guy. Nick got certified through him. That class is one of the only certificates that you can actually get a real intervention credential out of Pennsylvania. It's the only state that has a real credential for interventions.
Pennsylvania is the only state that does?
Correct. So a lot of like licensure, certifications, different things of that. Like there's literally, and my buddy Mark Crandall just actually, I think, did a podcast about this where, and it's been happening for years. There's this lady out of Florida, whatever, where people will say like, oh, I'm going to certify you in this great therapy method called, I don't know, John's therapy. And you pay them $1,000, and at the end of the weekend or whatever, they give you a piece of paper that says you're now a certified John's therapist. Right. Which really means nothing. It means you sat through their training for a weekend. So they have these like intervention credentials and like all this stuff that really have zero weight whatsoever. They're not
sanctioned at all by anything.
Correct. So,
dude, it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's like, could you imagine like going to your CPA and him being like, oh yeah, I got my CPA because I sat through a weekend course, but it's not actually sanctioned or recognized by anybody. Right.
So there's a really good documentary out called Screwball, which is about the Tony Bosch biogenesis scandal down in South Florida. And I was listening to
Who are they?
Like, you remember when that big A-Rod thing happened in professional baseball where A-Rod came out, he was on steroids, they started leaking out all these other documents. Not to give away the documentary, you should definitely go watch it it's not even really about baseball. It's like just about this super crazy story that had to do with baseball.
Sure.
But the doctor got his medical license from a university in Belize and then came back. And in South Florida, you can buy prescription pads from doctors who retired down there. You get DA numbers, all that. I think, is it DA number?
DEA or whatever?
No,
whatever.
It's whatever it is, whatever number. License you need for a prescription
Sure.
pad. I think I'm saying that wrong. But like he was writing prescriptions from his father's pad and then buying steroids off the street off of some guy who was making them in his garage. But it was really kind of like what you're talking about now. They had like in Florida, anything goes like that. Like they have all these people who are licensed in this or that, but nothing's really accurate. It's a really interesting documentary. Billy Corbin, go see it. Sorry, we got sidelined.
So anyway, we definitely got sidelined. So we're gonna probably have Nick on the show, talk about some of the services at
Geisler?
Surfside. Yeah, that some of the Surfside some of the services that Surfside is going to provide specifically to Atlantic County and Cape May County.
Very cool.
Yep, in the area. So,
very, very cool. When's your boy Mark moving? He's moving up here, isn't he?
So Mark will be up in Philly area, I believe, the end of the month.
Oh, really? We got to get him down here.
Yeah, he'll come down for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark is a really good egg. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to meet him. I mean, I've talked to him a couple times on the phone and online, so it'd be cool to meet him face to face.
Yeah. So, what did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so
let me respond to this message while you talk.
Yeah, so the topic of discussion, we were kind of struggling to come up with one. So in the comment section, all you people listening, write down what you want us to talk about. So something that's been going on in my life recently, something I like to call ride the wave. So it was some point after I had about a year sober, like when I kind of got through that honeymoon, pink cloud, whatever you want to call it. I got through that phase, and then like life stuff started to happen. And I've been talking to a bunch of my friends recently, and they're kind of going through like the same thing. Maybe guys who are just coming up on a year, maybe people who've been sober for a little bit longer, that like they get in this period that, I have a friend of mine likes to call it the blues, where you're just down on yourself, no particular reason. Maybe you're stressed out, maybe something, but it's just like these up and downs in sobriety that you hit, and like how to, I guess, kind of maintain and get through them. So, I mean, you've been sober a little bit longer than me. Do you notice this to be like a sort of common occurrence that happens every so often?
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up something here. Hang on.
Okay. He's looking up something, people.
I know what I'm looking for, so it's just getting it.
So we can take this time, everyone, to recognize how I look like I'm in the pinnacle of health. I'm in great shape, loving life, doing pull-ups now, bag tossing 100 pounds.
Are you?
Yeah. Doing good. Kit pull-ups. See, that's one thing I don't get about CrossFit, though, is how there's a bunch of different kinds of pull-ups, and I don't know which ones are which. Maybe we'll demonstrate in the
so there's strict pull-ups.
Afterwards.
Strict pull-ups are straight pull-ups. Kipping pull-ups is when you swing with a little momentum.
Mm-hmm. I like those.
And then butterfly pull-ups is where you do like more of a circular motion.
Those seem to be kind of sketchy.
Super fast.
Yeah.
You can do
like sketchy on the shoulders.
I think muscle-ups are sketchy on the shoulders.
Yeah.
That's how people get hurt. But people get hurt because they do things that are beyond their strength.
Right, yeah, they shouldn't do. Yeah, I've been really good with that.
All right, so what I just pulled up, and you can look at it yourself. You can pull it up if you Google a membership survey. So this came out in 2014. Every couple of years, one comes out. So mind you, this is AA. Mind you, there's also a million reasons why somebody would not fill this survey out, would not participate.
So this is an AA survey?
This is AA.
Oh, okay.
Not NA, not recovery. This is an Alcoholics Anonymous survey that I'm reading.
Okay. I didn't know they did those.
They do. So it says the average AA meeting attendance is 2.5 meetings per week. That's the average.
Okay.
Nationwide, 1.8 million people. So,
damn, dude, that's crazy. 1.8 million people. That's wild.
It is.
And those are obviously the numbers that they just survey. Those are the people who report. 1.8.
This is who reports, not of all the 1.8, but this is the collective, we'll say average. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. What's it say? Yeah, AA can be found almost everywhere, almost all the time, in there's more than 115 groups throughout the world. In 2014, more than 6,000 AA members from U.S. and Canada participated in a random survey of the membership. Such studies have been conducted every 3 to 4 years since 1968 by the General Service Office. Alcoholics Anonymous has conducted this survey to keep members informed on current trends and membership characteristics. The survey also provides information about AA to the professional community and the general public as part of AA's purpose in carrying our message to those who still suffer. So, excuse me. So the average AA member goes to 2.5 meetings a week, which I think is really interesting because if you attend a 12-step meeting, it is rare that you'll hear somebody like an old timer say, just go to 2 or 3 meetings a week.
Right.
It's usually go to 2 meetings a day or go to a meeting every day. Today, a guy at the meeting this morning, 20-something years sober, was like, I really got to I try to get to 2 meetings a day to keep the monkey off my back. And I thought to myself, fuck, if you've been doing this for 20 years and you got to go to 2 meetings a day, like, you are either like incredibly tormented by serious demons, or you haven't done the work necessary to have the obsession removed.
Right.
And I felt kind of bad for him. But what's really interesting, and it's why I've kind of always specialized with folks who get sober young, is because I think folks getting sober young are faced with a different set of challenges that folks who are older are faced with. Mm-hmm. So again, to go back to the meeting I was at this morning, this gentleman celebrated 10 years of sobriety.
Okay.
He is about 70, maybe 72. Mm-hmm. So he got sober in his 60s.
Correct. Yep.
Right? So somebody who's getting sober in their 60s is looking to like get close to retirement. If they have kids, their kids are probably grown up and out of the house by that point. Yep. If they're still married, their relationship is, whether it's good or bad, is probably like, pretty comfortable, settled down type thing.
Right.
Their life is in a very, very different position than someone who's getting sober at 22.
Right.
Right. Like the guy who's getting sober at 22, or the girl for that matter, is thinking like, how am I going to get laid? Mm-hmm. Like, how am I going to date? Like, how am I going to go back to school? How am I going to get a job? How am I going to be successful and do all this stuff sober? So I think some of the information that's provided, at your standard 12-step meeting can be very biased based on age, right? Like, it's easy. Like, I mean, if you think about it, if you have no responsibilities, if you're retired, and your wife is tired of you or your husband's tired of you, it's easy to go to 2 meetings a day.
Yeah, you don't have anything else. Yeah, you don't have anything else to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's only 2 hours out of your 16 hours that you're awake. Like, who cares? 2 hours is nothing.
Yeah.
But imagine being in grad school full time and having 2 little kids at home. Mm-hmm. And
that's
maybe
probably
even
how that
average
average goes down.
Well, and I think that's the stuff that's, I think, really important for people to be consistent of as they hit these like slumps. Is like, find something that you can be consistent at, whether you enjoy it or not. Mm-hmm. Right? Being consistent is more powerful than those like aggressive bursts.
Yeah. So I was talking with some friends last night, and I always like to say that I have this like Goldilocks sobriety, like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Like, I don't do too much, I don't do too little. I try to maintain this like even pace. And I was speaking with my sponsor maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I noticed I was getting really, really, really busy, and I wasn't hitting that many meetings at all. So I talked to him about it, and he's like, all right. He's like, why don't you just go to some more meetings? So the next week, I went to like 5, and now have kind of, do like 3, 4, 5, something like that. But, have a sponsee, read with people, talk to people. Like, I make a very, like, I don't try to do like those aggressive spurts or anything like that. And I tried that from the beginning too, was to not get too involved, because you'll get burnt out easily and really quick. But on the flip side to that, I know that if I don't do enough at all, or it's kind of just like, I go to a meeting here, wait 2 weeks, go to another one, that's like super quick for me to jump out. No.
It's kind of like well, I don't want to use that example. I used an example in a group yesterday that was kind of
not a good example.
I'll use a different example. It's like, let's say you get really fit and in shape, and So basically I was doing this group and I was talking about like why it's important to be a part of 12-step recovery and things of that nature.
Yep.
And of course, you know, someone who has been to 17 treatment centers is like, well, I've never done the 12 steps, but isn't that just like replacing one drug for another? And I was like, well, think of it this way. If you go to the gym and you get yourself healthy and in shape, you start eating right, you're going to feel better about yourself. Mm-hmm. Does that mean you're addicted to the gym? Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? You feel good about yourself.
Right.
You're doing the right thing. If you stop going to the gym and you start eating, you know, a pepperoni pizza every day and start eating, you know, McDonald's for lunch,
right,
the progress you made, you will eventually lose. You will not, right? Like, so I have a pretty regular workout routine. If I, for lunch, go over to McDonald's and eat 2 double quarter pounders, and then tomorrow think screw it and go eat a pepperoni pizza, mm-hmm. Like, am I going to get fat overnight? No. Am I going to be out of shape overnight? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. But if I start doing that on a regular basis and stop doing what I'm doing, I'm absolutely going to feel the effects. And that's where like this idea of consistency, right? The tortoise and the hare is like a kid's fable. That's very like true. It really outlines. You know, I think it's a big picture for life. Is like as young adults, you know, we need to figure out how are we going to do this consistently? You know, how are we going to be able to do this for? I mean, if I stay sober, let's say until I'm 73, mm-hmm. which I should probably live longer than that, I would assume.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but if I stay sober and live until I'm 73, that means I would have 50 years sober. Right. Right? Like, that is a huge amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's 75% of your life.
Like, there's easily, like because I got sober at 23, I could easily hit 60 or 70 years sober. Yeah. Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's bananas.
You know, and so it's like, for me, you know, it's one of the downfalls of AA where everybody's like, oh, well, just one day at a time. But like, you know, there is a part of me that like has to very much plan for the future. Mm-hmm. So how can I do this without wanting to blow my brains out and do it consistently for good, right? Like in the back of the AA Big Book, it says, ask the man if he wants to quit for good and for all. Where are you going? Bye. Keep going. He's back. And you know, and it's like, okay, so if I'm getting sober this young, you know, like I've got to figure out how to make this a part of my life. One of the things that we see at Surfside, and we can kind of see it when somebody is in the like phase 3, phase 4. And it's like so interesting to me because everybody thinks it's like not going to be them, but like they start backing off on the things that we've taught them to do. Mm-hmm. The second they don't have to do those things, they stop. And shortly after they start using again. Right. And it's like, so why wouldn't that be you? Right. So it has to get to a point where like this becomes a part of life because it's a part of life. Right. It's like as simple as like putting on underwear in the morning. You do it every day. You're not necessarily conscious of the fact that you're doing it, but you're just doing it. It's just like part of who you are. Yeah.
The one thing, you know, that I can pull from the Surfside program is how, you know, when we were in there, we had to call 3, you know, members of AA a day. And like you look through my phone book now, there's probably 10 to 15 different calls every day. And rarely, I wouldn't say rarely, but more often than not, it's not anything associated with the program, you know?
Yeah, just friends.
It's just my friends, you know? Yeah. And like I built that network up that like I call and talk to people where people just like call me to say what's up. And then, you know, sometimes we get into some stuff and other times we don't. But, you know I had to watch out for when I moved out from the house manager position onto my own to make sure I do something. And it's challenging when you work in recovery too, to want to go like to meetings and do AA stuff when you're not working.
So I'm going to read some more of this membership survey. So for those of you who are listening who are, when I say young adult, I think like 40 under. Some people say young adults like 26 under, but whatever.
You're just trying to include yourself in the number.
I mean, because I feel like a young adult. Like, I mean, I don't feel like I'm old.
Being young is an age.
And I'm incredibly childish sometimes. A lot of the times.
It's okay.
Or, so if you're a young adult and you're listening to this, or if, you're a parent of a young adult in recovery, like, let me read some of this. So the age of members, right? Mm-hmm. 1% is 21 and under. 1% of 1.8 million. So if your kid is, think about that. If your kid is 21, 20, 19, 18 or under and is sober right now, whether they stay sober or not, that is a miracle. I mean, that really and truly is right. A miracle when you think about it. Even if they relapse in a year or in 6 months or whatever, the fact that like they're in that 1%, that is a tiny, tiny, tiny number.
Yeah, I don't even know what's 1% of 1.8 million. Is that 180 or 1,800?
1,800.
1,800?
I believe. Or 180,000.
Or 180,000. Yeah, I'm not good with that.
I don't have.
You got a calculator on your thing.
Oh.
Look it up.
Everyone's probably watching this like these guys are absolutely retarded.
Yeah, I'm not a math major, you know.
I'm definitely not.
You know, it's funny though. I have an alarm clock on my phone that wakes me up in the morning, and I have to solve math problems in order to turn it on. 18,000. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's like, you know, thinking about those numbers, like it doesn't. Well, 20. You said 21 or under.
21 and under.
Yeah, 21's kind of young.
30 and under. So 30 to 21 is 11%. So
yeah, okay,
30
that
and
makes
under
sense.
is 12%.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you look at the rooms around here, it's
small. That's small.
Well, I mean, you know,
we're in an area where there's more recovery houses, so there's more young people.
Correct. But for the large majority of areas, it's probably not really like that. But I mean, that makes sense to other places I've been that it's like that. And you also got to think part of that's probably because, you know, maybe people who are of that younger demographic go to different fellowships.
Well, and sure. But even like the meeting I was at this morning, I'm 37. I know for a fact there was a girl there younger than me, one guy there younger than me, two people who are questionably younger than me, and that's it. Out of maybe 45 people.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
like morning meetings though too, you know?
But again, right, there's morning meetings, there's 10 o'clock meetings, there's noon meetings, there's, you know.
Right.
Like the meetings you're talking about are typically like the evening meetings.
Yeah, 7, 8 o'clock.
40 and under is 40 to 31 is 14%.
So what's the largest majority?
So the largest majority would be 41 to 60, which is 49%.
Wow. Interesting.
That's so again, if your kid is sober and they're a part of 12-step fellowship right now, even if they do relapse in the future, like you need to really like be blessed and understand that you are blessed that they are sober and that they're trying right now.
It's a good way to look at it.
And the longer they stay sober now and the better their life becomes now, the more attractive their sobriety is now, the better they will do, even if they do slip up in the future. Yeah,
I'm a testament to that too. You know, my life got better at one point going through 12-step fellowship, and then I went back out, but I knew coming back in that there was something definitely here. And
then we have 50%. 50% of the people have under 5 years sober. 5 and under is 50%. 27% has a year sober or less. So it's hard. Like, you know, I think that, you know, people look at this stuff and it's like, that's why I'm saying it's like you have to figure out how to be consistent and be prepared for the long term.
Right.
Like the cards, the younger you are when you get sober, the worst case scenario or worst chance you have at staying sober. Right. And the funny thing is, like, families, like, we get mad at people when they relapse.
Right.
But if like the family holds their boundaries, right? Like, let's say you're my child and I hold the boundaries and you relapse and it doesn't affect me, it saddens me, but it doesn't like, you didn't rob from me, you didn't whatever.
Okay.
But I should just try to help you, like always, you know.
That's how my family was.
But like bringing you back in doesn't necessarily help, especially when you're in active addiction because you're lying, cheating,
right?
You know,
doing all those things.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the illness. So, you know, for those of you who are struggling, like, you know, switching sponsors can be good.
Changing up meetings too.
Changing up meetings can be excellent. Yeah. Reworking the steps, you know.
I do that periodically.
To just do stuff like that.
Hit other meetings that I don't normally go to. Just like it makes it feel like it's something different.
Even like do like a Friday night type deal. Like grab a couple guys and be like, hey, let's go to this Wildwood meeting and get a slice of pizza on the boardwalk and hit this random meeting. You know, just like little things like that, like starting to road trip. And
I've started to get involved with different like committees and stuff like that. I go on a retreat too, which isn't, you know, sanctioned by 12-step, but it's 12-step related. And that's just like why not? You know what I mean? I really like it. So it's just like something else to kind of add in the mix to look forward to.
Sure.
So I'm going on that next weekend. Very excited about that.
So again, if you're looking for help, let us know, whether it's you need to get into treatment, you have questions or comments about your sobriety, you've got whatever we can do to be helpful, let us know. If we can't be helpful, we will point you in the direction. Doesn't matter your age. If you are an addict, if your kid is, or your wife or husband or whatever, grandmother, mom, it doesn't really matter. Just reach out for help. If you have any questions, tips, things you would like addressed on the podcast, we'd be happy to do that.
Yes, we would.
And most importantly, please share it with just hit the share button on your
click.
Facebook and so we can get sponsored by Fuel for Fire and Numa.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for all your support at the Hustle For Henne Race, and we will have a recap of the Henne Race next podcast episode. Peace out.
Thanks.